last time we have positioned our player on our clouds. Now we need to start moving the camera before we start to program our cloud spawner and our cloud collector also in order to collect the clouds and recreate new clouds. So we need our camera to be moving for that. In our scripts folder, create camera scripts, and here create a camera script, attach it on the main camera, and double click its Amana develop will open it. As always, we are going to start with a couple of variables, and we are going to have a private float, which is going to be speed, which initially is equal to 1, a private float acceleration, which is going to be equal to 0.2, and a private float, which is going to be equal to max speed that our camera can reach, 3.2f. We are also going to have a public boolean move camera, but we don't want it to be visible in the inspector panel, because now if I go here and select the camera, we see that variable is visible here, and we don't want that. But we also don't want this variable to be private because we need it later on. For that, we can simply type here above, open square bracket, and type hide in inspector like this. And now if I go back, we are going to see it disappear from the inspector. So we are not going to see it right here. In our start function, we are going to say move camera is equal to true. And in the update function, we are going to say if move camera, then we are going to move the camera by using this function that we did not create, and we are going to create it. Now, inside of this function, what we are going to do is we are going to create a temporary variable which is equal to transform position, which is the position of the camera. Now I'm going to create a float old y, which is going to store the old y position is equal to temp.y, the previous position of the camera. And here I'm going to have float new y is equal to temp.y minus, and here I'm going to say speed multiplied by time.delta time. This is going to be our new y position. Now what we need to do is we need to take our temp.y is equal to mathf.clamp, and this function clamps a value which is going to be temp.y, so it clamps this value between the given value and the other given value, so between the minimum and the maximum. So this value here, so we are going to reassign, or this clamp function is going to assign this variable, or to this variable, between this and this. It will not allow it to go below this variable or this value, and it will not allow it to go above this value. And it's going to reassign it to our temporary position. And now I can simply say transform that position is equal to temp, reassigning this position back to our camera's position. Another thing that we need to do here is we need to say our speed is equal to, or plus equal to, acceleration multiplied by time.delta time in order to increase the speed over time. And the last thing that we need to do, we need to check if our speed is greater than the maximum speed, then our speed is equal to the maximum speed. And here we are using the maximum speed to control our speed. If we don't do this, then our camera is going to move like crazy, and we will demonstrate this. Now we can simply go back and rerun the game. If I run the game now, we are going to see our camera moving slowly. So the camera is moving, our player has fallen down. So let me just take the player again. So we have the player here, and we need to alter our player a little bit more. So if I select the player, we need to alter his rigid body a little bit more here. Let's say if I set the player's linear drag to be 4 and hit apply. So now if I run the game, so now our player moves a little bit smoother. So now we have our camera moving, and we see here, and we see that the speed also increases slowly over time, but we don't have any more background or any more of our clouds to go. If I don't do this, if we did not type this right here, then we are going to see that our camera is going to move faster and faster. So it's going to go faster and faster, and it's not going to stop. So we see the camera is going and going. So now we are going to see, well, it going faster and faster because we are not controlling the speed of the camera. And because of that, we need to control the speed here of the camera. If the speed goes above the maximum speed, reset the speed to the maximum speed. That's what we are doing here. And notice now, this is what I've talked. So if I rerun the game now, so we see here our cloud spawner. When he touches, and also notice that we don't have our clouds anymore. Notice that when the cloud collector, and I'm going to rerun the game, when the cloud collector touches the clouds, he's going to deactivate them. So these are, so one problem we are having here, our cloud collector is not deactivating them. That's why, that is because we need to select our cloud spawner and our cloud collector and attach a rigid body on both of them, because otherwise this will not work. And let me just move down the script in this order. So select the script, move it down. We also need to select both of these rigid bodies and set them to be kinematic, because if we don't do that, if I run the game now, they're going to fall simply. So we see them falling down, and they went down. These are our cloud collectors. They are falling down because we have the rigid body on them. They are being affected by physics. If we set them to be kinematic, then they will not be affected by physics. And now if I rerun the game, we are going to see that when our cloud, so notice now when the cloud collector touches the cloud, he's going to deactivate it. Again, also the dark cloud, also this cloud, this, and this cloud. So we see clouds being deactivated. This is the same technique that we are going to use for our backgrounds, to deactivate them and reposition them here to simulate an infinite background. And also for our cloud spawner, when he touches this last cloud here, it's going to compare its position and the last cloud position, and that way we are going to know that we have, well, the last cloud and we need to recreate new clouds. We are going to stop here, and well, that's enough for this video, simply creating our camera's movement. And we are going to stop here, and in the next video we are going to program how our cloud spawner is going to respawn new clouds when he touches the last cloud.